fillet this carp. It is defrosted, and honestly, I probably should have cleaned it up and filleted it up and everything a bit sooner, but oh well. Actually, let's get one of these Inca forks. That should help us with the filleting. Let's see if I'm gonna break through these bones or not. With the rib bones, you have to decide to either break through them or you can peel around. But breaking through right now isn't actually doesn't feel that bad. So one of the only farmed fish that I would recommend to buy carp. Tilapia is all right too, but yeah. Actually, to get it out of the way right now, let's take the ribs out. And now we're gonna do some more cleaning of this, just so it doesn't, get mashed around and make stuff dirty. I don't really think that I might not break through these bones. Like with trout and salmon, yeah, you want to break. Just gonna get a much better feeling than that. But carp have such tough rib bones. Might not be worth it. But you have to see. I But generally, I would recommend just trying to get decent at this technique where you don't break through the rib bones, especially once you get to bigger carp. Like, these standard table sized carp that are farm raised, up to that size, you can kind of do both. But with a real big carp, forget I wouldn't even bother trying to break through those rib bones unless you have like a saw or something. Hey there, 4 people in the house. Let's go. And 1 like. Well, let's get those likes up. Yeah, and as you can see, this is a carcass, and this is all going to the trash. Because this fish was all, I did buy this carp. It is, yeah, the gills and stuff are all in here, and that's not super precious. And you need to really get a fish properly clean and the gills out if you want to eat it. Like if you want to make a soup out of the head and stuff, so you can eat the fillets. Just the meat. And here you can also see pretty good the differences between the two filleting techniques. This fillet definitely looks a bit cleaner. This is a bit more jagged, It's not, the cuts are not as smooth and stuff. And also the meat is a bit of a different color. Also the cuts definitely are smoother on this one. Although this actually has, as a whole, about the same, from yield, maybe even I missed a bit more meat on the first one. I actually saved a little more meat on this. So it's not like one is better than the other. Hi there, Peyton Freeman. Um, we're getting some carp ready. Gonna make some boneless carp fillets. And I'm bleeding. Great. I cut myself a little bit, so we're just gonna. I'm sure I have band-aids somewhere, but I don't know where they are. Just gonna put a little piece of paper towel and a rubber band around it. That'll stay on my finger even when I get wet and keep the blood from touching the rays. So yeah, this is the one where I broke through the rib bones. As you can see, it looks cleaner. This is ones where I left the rib bones intact. It's less elbow grease you have to put into this technique, but it's a bit more refined. It's a bit more work to then get it properly done, but yeah. I would get if I would have to do a bunch of these, I would have to do this technique, even though it might take a little longer and it might not look as clean. I'm gonna save a bit more meat, and I'm not gonna hurt my elbow because my elbow would hurt if I would do a bunch of times breaking through the rib bones. Or if you have a really big heart, at some point the ribs bones are just too thick to break through them with a knife. So now we're gonna trim those fillets up. Okay, this fillet is already ready to go now. Just gonna make sure no scales are left. Yes, you can remove the scales before you do the filleting. The thing is just you might be removing a bunch of scales you don't need to actually remove because they're gonna get trimmed off anyway. So that is why. If you're a bit lazy, you might actually want to wait till the fillet is already trimmed up on these mirror parts that still have a few scales, but not many. And any bits that look a bit weird, just trim them off. All right. Okay, trimming is basically done. We've removed all true bones, by the way. All true bones are removed, but there's still the white bones, which technically aren't bones at all. But they're calcified eat tendons. So they're actually muscle tendons, not bones. But when you're eating them, it feels the same, except you, the white bones are just loose in the flesh, so it's hard to get them out. But there's a trick. And the trick is not getting them out at all. You can still get rid of them. And how do you do that? That's what I'll show you now. All right, let's get these scales off. There really isn't much work. I'm gonna keep buying carp all the way. And you can absolutely, of course, there are carp or most and carp relatives in my local rivers that I could be catching, and I will do that. The thing though is heavy metal contaminants and stuff. These are fish that will have more of them. And this is from these are from agriculture in ponds where that are from a pretty clean area, but that's not really going to be a concern. Unlike in my local rivers. So for health reasons, it's probably better, actually, in my case at least, with these carp to buy them versus catching them. But yeah, still, I like to catch my own stuff, and it can be cheaper, let's say. Let's see, this cut is still bleeding. Looks good. But well, basically, you're gonna cut through all the way till the skin. Every 1 or 2 millimeters. There are machines that do that. Okay. Some blood going on here. Actually, let's see my other knife. My other knife might be a better shape for this one. Let's try that out. Yeah. That cuts a lot better. And this is cutting the Y bone because the Y bones run not completely horizontally, but yeah, they run basically along the side, like more like an X in direction like this, but enough that if you cut across, like I'm doing here, vertically, you will cut through them. And they get tougher towards the tail. Yeah, this last little bit, not worth it. And if you accidentally cut through at some point parts, just right. One thing I should have done is I should have salted the beforehand. And here we have another cut that went a bit too deep. Let's separate these cuts, put some salt on there. And where's my salt? I want some salt grinder so I can dose it better. That's honestly the only reason for me to use fresh ground salt. I find it just a lot easier to get the right amount. And this next fillet, I'm actually gonna salt it before I do all these little cuts because these little cuts will help get the seasoning deeper into it. Or the salt deeper into the meat. That way, less work, Or no, not less work, but it's the salt will penetrate right away. I won't have to wait for hi there, G-Balls. Maybe. But yeah, the normal white bone here doesn't feel like it. Interesting. And now I can turn around. If there's any parts where we're going to cut through the skin, that would be a part to cut through. Now we have a tail piece. And this, I'm just yeah, let's cut through the belly so it cooks more evenly. Cut the belly off. Hey there, biggies, biggie smalls, Charles. I don't know what you mean, but not sure if that should stay on there. Nothing wrong with being gay, I'm not. In case someone's interested. Yeah. Had I known that it would be this fast, I might have waited longer to do this because I mean that's basically done. And I'm gonna wait like an hour before I eat some of these. But yeah, here we have boneless carp fillets. Now let's and what did the carp weigh? 1.338 kilos. Now that wasn't perfectly clean, so let's just say 1.3 kilos. And what yield do we have? Perfect, ready to cook boneless fillet. Okay, these are 1.25 kilos, but of course the plate weighs something. I have the same place, except the plate and subtract. Okay. We have about, that's almost 700 grams, so we have about a 50% yield. Right? Two, three, four, five, six, 650. Yeah, just under 50% yield. That does make this kind of pricey, to be honest. So, yeah, 50% yield. Which isn't bad for bonus fillets, but oh well. Well, I'll probably start another live tour for the cooking. Yeah, cheers, folks. See you guys soon. Bye bye. Locked up drag out.